Blaze buddies! What's going on, everyone? Well, last month, as we all know, was Mental Health Awareness Month. Perfect timing for my book launch. The month went amazing. Still trying to trying to hit my goal there with 100 books in the next 4 weeks. But this month, coincidentally, is Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Month. Now, PTSD is a very serious situation. And everyone always associates that with the military, soldiers, and so on. But it stems way far and beyond that. And, to coincide with my book, being with the whole crazy theme, a lot of that of the book, especially with myself, involved PTSD. Now, we all go through crazy relationships, and I made that pretty clear in the book with several of those characters. But there were many, many more. I just pinned it down to 5 of the craziest. But we all are affected in crazy relationships. Now, I was affected from a very early age with my mother. I mean, I had to suppress everything that I heard and saw as a kid. Now, as a kid, we're like sponges. We're absorbing everything, especially the first 10 years of a kid's life. So from 5 years on, all up through my teenage years, and then eventually I went into the military, I was witness to some crazy stuff, and I had to block that stuff out. I had to block it out and use other ways to manage and navigate through that. So with me, I was the weights, the exercise, the constantly, always out. I used to go for 15-mile runs with dumbbells in my hand. I used to do crazy stuff to keep my mind off of it. But even though I did all those things, it sits subconsciously in the back of your mind, and you can block it out. I'm good at blocking shit out. I can compartmentalize anything. I'm excessive compulsive to the highest degree. But even though you're blocking that out, even though you're filing that little file away in another part of your brain, computer, or whatever, it's still there. And it manifests itself, and it grows like a freaking cancer. So I had all that growing up, suppressed feelings. And then when I went into, my life dating all these ladies, situations, and them being crazy in their own way, I had to again block shit out. But I wasn't done dealing with the other shit. So I would get into another situation of a different kind of crazy, and I would have to block that out. So I would visualize your desktop computer, and you're filing away files, compartmentalizing. It was a constant battle. Now, also, when I was in the military, at one point, we were off overseas in the hills of Marseille, France, practicing, and, we call that a med float. We got called in from the fields because we got activated. We got literally activated, and they told us to put our shit on, get shit ready, and we're going to fight. So that in itself was traumatic. So those particular things sitting in the back of my mind. So now I got my mother's situation, I got the military, now I got all these crazy relationships. It eventually affects you, and you don't realize it. So, here you are in a new relationship, and things are going great with your current, spouse. And then you start just fucking wigging out and doing crazy shit, and you don't even realize why. I mean, it's it's destructive. Now, the definition of post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental condition triggered by experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event leading to a severe anxiety, flashbacks, and emotional distress. I mean, I couldn't put that any better. But again, the problem is we block it out. We don't, I dealt with things head on with the exercise. But even currently up until this day, I'm affected still by previous relationships. In one of those chapters, it was one of the most stressful, horrible times in my life for probably the longest standing particular relationships in my life, and it was the most traumatic. So that has left some long-term damage. So, here I am, I put when I'm trying to deal with things with my anxiety and with, the stresses of, regular, paying bills and money's always been a stress to me, but I put myself into work full force. I put myself into working out, all those years and decades of competing and bodybuilding. That's how I dealt with it. I didn't have a therapist. I didn't go on any psych meds. I think there is a place in certain, instances for those particular medications in certain circumstances, but I just think nowadays, it's way overprescribed. So I never went that route. I decided to deal with things on my own. But again, you think you're dealing with things on your own, and it's just in the back of your freaking head eating away and causing things you don't even realize. So that's that. I don't want to make this too long, but post-traumatic stress disorder month. Anyone that had been in combat in the military or in a horrible situation in a relationship, or God forbid, anything that happened, anything that's massively stressful. We all deal with things in a different way. So be very conscientious of people that Don't assume if someone's acting a certain way, they're being a bitch or a dick. Maybe they're dealing with something and they don't even realize it. The main thing is to deal with it, to not think it's going to go away, because it's not going to freaking go away. All right, listen, I gotta go. I think today we might hit 90 books. I got 10 five-star reviews so far, and I'm hoping on getting a few more. Again, I keep reiterating this on my posts. Please write me a review if you've read the book. It's super important to authors, to myself, and other people. They want to see the experiences of other people. That's super important. All right, gotta go. It's gonna be a beautiful weekend, they say. We'll believe it when we see it. All right, take care, everyone. Buy my book. You won't regret it.